because of the living God. The Savior lives in us. And if the Savior lives in us, then we are Superman to our world.
When you find yourself making negative decisions that bring you to the point of failure, you just have to look at it as a lesson. You find people today trying to cast and bind the evil spirit in their lives, but as a Christian, you can't possibly pray against what came to teach you a lesson. When you make negative decisions that put you in your current situation, you simply have to learn from it, and that challenge will fade naturally. We'll take our reading from Genesis 37 from verses 5 to 11 and also from verses 23 to 24. Verse 5. Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more. Verse 6. He said to them, listen to this dream I had. Verse 7. We were binding sheaves of corn out in the field, when suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it. His brothers said to him, verse 8, do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us? And they hated him all the more because of his dream and what he had said. Verse 9. Then he had another dream and he told it to his brothers. He said, listen, I had another dream, and this time the sun and the moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me. Verse 10. When he told his father as well as his brothers, his father rebuked him. Hear this word, and said, what is this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you? Verse 11. His brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the matter in heart. When you read this through to verse 23, you will discover a whole lot. Verse 23. When Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the richly ornamented robe he was wearing. Verse 24. And they took him and threw him into the cistern. Now the cistern was empty. There was no water in it. When you read this, you see clearly that Joseph was not yet mature, and he kept on revealing the plans God had for him to people. He was too young to appreciate the glory that lay ahead of him. If not, he would not have ordinarily gone to people and start revealing his future plans to them. If that young man, Joseph, were to have been the prime minister early than the time he did in Egypt, he would have lost all. Joseph would have been too inexperienced to handle that position. He needed to learn. So the hard time Joseph faced, he went into the dry pit, into Potiphar's house, and finally in the prison. This was God's way of preserving him for the glory of God. The challenges we face are not our enemy. They are there to strengthen us. They are there to improve us. This is God's way of grooming us for tomorrow. It was during that period of his life that Joseph gained the necessary experience and maturity he needed to handle the responsibilities imposed by the exalted position in the royal court of Egypt. It was during these hard times Joseph gained the maturity and experience he needed to rule. No pain, no gain, no suffering, no success. No persecution, no promotion. When you ask people who have attained success in today's society, they will tell you how much they suffered. They will tell you the challenges they went through. It did not come easy before they could get to the position they are. Those hard times were necessary. The challenges we go through as Christians are necessary.